Howdy, folks. I am Charles Deering, and this is Maker's Mashup. Tonight's guest is Mark Christopher. We'll introduce him last. For those that don't know him, I know everybody on the panel, anybody that knows him. And this is Maker's Mashup. Tonight's guest is Mark Christopher. One of y'all forgot to, which one of you was it? It was Carl, wasn't it? Just mess with you, Carl. Anybody that knows Mark that isn't being sarcastic will tell you he's a very, very sweet man. But before we even get going, I have got to show you. Anybody that knows Mark that isn't being sarcastic will tell you he's a very, very sweet man. Okay, everybody that's not talking, please mute yourself. Yeah, and don't forget to turn off the watch page. Sorry, I'm easily distracted. Real quickly, I want to show you the kind of friendship me and Carl have. Not Carl, dagnabbit. Well, yeah, me and Carl have a friendship too, but I'm talking about the picture I want to show you. It's Mark Sherman. This is me and Mark Sherman in Atlanta, Georgia. That was right after we got married. It was precious.
You've already forgotten my name.
Who's Mark Sherman?
Yeah, exactly.
Mark Sherman. Oh my God, did I say Mark Sherman? Oh my God.
Yes, you did, Shannon.
I'm a heck of a host here. By the way, Shannon Fargo is good. Shannon Fargo, it is good to see you in the outside chat. I noticed earlier. I'm so sorry, Mark. Anywho, so yeah, that's Mark Christopher. I swear I know his name. I just haven't seen him in so long. But yeah, he is a very, very sweet man. I don't know anybody that has a negative word to say about him, but I will introduce him last because, you know, that's what we do here. I'm going to go from my left to right, and when I do, please unmute yourself and tell everybody where they can find you on social media, this and that. If you run a Facebook group, you're welcome to plug that as well. I'll start by saying I'm Charles Deering, woodenvisions.com, and you know my YouTube channel because you're looking at it. But on woodenvisions.com, you go to the link section, you'll find all my social media, but I don't know if Facebook is on there, so on Facebook I go by the Charles Deering. Thank you for watching, and we're going to go next to left to right is Al Forte.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Thanks for the invite, Charles. Al Forte, Odessa Woodworking, on Facebook, Odessa Woodworking, YouTube channel, Odessa Woodworking. I have a few videos out there. Anyway, just for fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, sir. Next we have Chris Ahern, the old Cranky Workshop.
Hey, boys and girls. This is Chris Ahern here from the Old Cranky Workshop. You can find me on YouTube and Facebook at the Old Cranky Workshop. And soon to be most popular winner of the 2017 Palette Upcycle Challenge.
That's ironic because Shane. Thanks for being here. It's ironic because Shane Cole told me this morning he was going to win, so one of y'all's wrong.
Yeah, well.
Unless it's the first ever tie.
He was good at making sawdust. So.
Thank you, sir, for being here. And next we got Donna Presley out of Alabama.
Alabama.
Oh, God, I got it right.
Hi, Donna Presley, Alabama. You can catch me on Facebook. You can catch me on YouTube. A couple other things, maybe. But thanks for having me, Charles.
Thank you for being here, and we hope your foot's doing better and you're not puking.
Much better.
I got a hell of a way of showing my tenderness to people. Miter Mike's sidekick, Be-doo. This is Jamie Page from across the pond.
Hey, you doing, everybody? Yep, I'm Miter Mike's sidekick, Be-doo.
Oh, and the guy on the mic. Can't forget the guy on the microphone.
That is Steve Twidell from Temple Boy Turn-ins. You can find me at Makers International Podcast, and all my social media links can be found at makersinternationalpodcast.com.
All right, makersinternationalpodcast.com.
Yep,
all right,
not makerscentral.co.uk, which is a big event happening in the UK in 2018.
Plug it, baby. Thank you for being here, Jamie. Next, we got Carl Taylor, scrollsawvideo.com, or the videos. I always forget.
Whatever. Just type it in.
Before I introduce myself, I got to ask you a question, Charles.
Only if it's family friendly, sir.
Yeah, what kind of microphone you talking into?
I believe it's called Blue Yeti, or at least Yeti, Y-E-T-I.
Okay, I was just saying if you were going to describe it as we talked about earlier.
Well, I don't remember what we said earlier. We've said a lot of things that can't be repeated.
Anyway, just northeast of Atlanta, scrollsawvideo.com. I have a YouTube channel, Scrollsaw and Woodworking Videos. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel, and everybody else on this panel has a YouTube channel. Please subscribe to theirs. Send your donations to me, and I'll try to pass them to Charles.
Thank you, Carl. Check's in the mail, baby.
That check's in the mail. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, and thank you for being here. But don't forget to plug your Facebook page.
Oh yeah, Facebook page, Scrollers on YouTube, on Facebook.
Yeah, it's actually a group, not a page. There, believe it or not, there is a difference for those who aren't familiar with Facebook. But thank you, Carl. And
yeah, and we have working on. We don't have the most members, but it's a fun group and it's free to join. And Russell Clarity, Charles Deering, and Donna are they help me out on there. They're the co-owners.
They are the admins. Yeah, something like that. Can somebody help Chris Ahern? He wants to have the little name under his. It's you click on Hangout Toolbox, and the rest in lower third, and then you write it all down. Okay, we have a first timer on the panel, and he will be our featured guest next Friday at 7:30 p.m. Central, or whatever time that is for you. Kenny Hopkins, he is a designer, and I'll let him tell the rest. Kenny, tell everybody where they can find you, please.
Pennsylvania, Northeast. You can find me on Facebook, All Things Scroll Saw, Facebook group. All get together, try to help each other out, help new guys out, put out a lot of patterns. Put about 16 of them out this week myself, so check us out.
Yeah, he is a pattern making machine, and hopefully he'll be able to do that with us next week. No pressure. And I believe his co-moderator is Dawn. I can't say her last name to save my life, but she's also
Dawn there, and Blair, Sir.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot Blair. Sorry, Blair, if you're watching. Thank you for being here, Kenny. And again, next Friday he will be our guest. So y'all be watching. He is a scroll sawyer and pattern designer, and he gives them away for free. I wish I could do that, but I'm eating cardboard. So I'm gonna
become my new best friend.
He's got a whole album of good patterns on there. Again, the name of the group is All Things Scroll Saw, and you should see a cutting of a tractor scene, I believe, is the group photo.
We decided to change that this week. We're actually going to be posting different pictures that our scrollers have put together, and just randomly choosing, get them some attention.
Awesome. And that's what's great about the group. I mean, I know I won't name the names, but there are groups out there that some have drama. Most of them don't, but that's one good thing about his group, as well as a lot of the members are great people. I'm gonna thank you, Kenny, for being here. If you and Carl don't mind muting yourselves just in case we get background noise, and then we'll babble later and throw all your stuff up. Did somebody just drop out? No. Okay, sorry about that. My Mike.
Good evening. My name is Michael Murray with Miter Mike's Woodshop. I can be found on YouTube and all social medias under Miter Mike's Woodshop.
All right. See, he made it easy. I had to come up with 20 different things per social media because I didn't know what the crap I was doing. And I believe the guy that dropped out and came back in was Mr. Paul Corliss out of Michigan.
Hey, if I dropped out, you must have kicked me out because I didn't know it.
Sorry, I just thought I saw one drop out. Sorry.
I'm Paul Corliss from Paul's Messy Workshop, and you can find me on Paul's Messy Workshop on YouTube, Paul's Messy Workshop on Instagram, paulsmessyworkshop.com, but I do not do Twitter because the guy in the big White House has ruined it for everybody.
Oh, nugget. You were doing great till that last line. Dag blabbit. Now they're going to have a big old debate out in the... Dag blabbit, Paul.
And thanks for having me on, Charles.
Thanks for being on, I think. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, so that's what the topic is going to be in the outside chat for the rest of the hour. So we're going to move up. Uh-oh. Is our main dude here? Yes, he is. Ladies and gentlemen, hailing out of somewhere in Canada, Mark Christopher.
Hi, Charles. Thanks for having me tonight. I'm Mark Christopher, originally from St. John's, Newfoundland. I live in Enfield, Nova Scotia, just outside of Halifax. Primarily a pen maker, whirligig maker, do Victorian scroll saw ornaments, and I have no idea where they are. My wife has them packed away. And as you can see by everything here on the table, I kind of do whatever she wants me to do.
Alrighty, before we get going.
And that's why we've been happy. Well, we've been together for 30 years. So
that's awesome.
I listen well.
Speaking of listening, your audio is kind of gurgly. Hopefully, there's something that can be done. Maybe you have a loose connection somewhere. It's like you're talking through static. That's the best way I know to explain it.
Before the show, it worked fine.
Yeah, of course. That's the way it goes. But if there's anything you want to jiggle that's family friendly, just to stop anybody from going there, because that's where I go. Anyway, again, Mark is a great guy. Going to Atlanta was the first time I'd ever gone outside my comfort zone, and he was the very first. At least when I went into the venue of the woodworking show, he was the very first person I saw, and I hugged him, and he grabbed my butt, and the rest is history. But boy, this is a hell of a start, isn't it? So, Mark,
Charles,
I'll ask that traditional question: how long have you been woodworking, and what got you started?
I guess it's been about 14, 15 years. It started out when we moved. I got transferred here. And my wife wanted to make some flower beds out in the garden. So we picked up some mini railway ties, and I went out and bought a jigsaw, and that was that.
Awesome. Is there anything you can tweak to try to fix the audio? I mean, I'm not upset, and it won't ruin the show. I'm just wondering.
I don't think there is. There's nothing different from when we were on here before we started the show. So I honestly don't know what's going on. I even have my cell phone turned off.
Okay, and I assume it's a built-in microphone on the laptop?
Yeah, it's on the. Yeah, I think it's on the laptop or on the camera, one or the other.
All right. Well, we can for the most part make out what you're saying, so it's all good. Before I continue, does anybody on the panel have any questions for Mark? Really?
Not all at once.
What's your nickname, Mark, and how did you come about it?
You're right, I forgot. Yeah, what's your nickname and how did you come about it? Sorry, Jamie.
Stud Muffin.
You're welcome, Charles.
Go ahead, Mark.
It's Stud Muffin, Jamie, and you should know that.
Oh no, I was the one to give it to you.
It's Jurassic Mark.
Jurassic Mark.
Hey, let me come closer.
Hey, can you prove that? Are you Jurassic Mark? I want to see proof.
Let's not have him prove it because we don't know where that's going to lead.
Yes.
That is too funny. And that was designed by Jamie Page, hence the shameless plug.
Yes. That was actually given to me by a coworker.
And for those wondering why Mark is sitting way back in Tokyo, it's just the way his shop and computer are set up, and you know it's fine. We could still. He may have to get up 20 times to show us stuff, but that's up to him. But before we get it, Chris, I noticed you unmuted yourself. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm sorry, I forgot it was unmuted.
No, I wasn't calling you out for a bad reason. I thought you wanted to ask something.
No, I just happened to do it, and I forgot it was there.
Shame. Mark, if you could pick one, I had the word till right when I started to talk, one aspect of woodworking or making, what is your favorite as far as your passion goes, your go-to style of making?
I would have to say probably pen making, turning on the lathe. Especially if I'm dealing with, I tend to get, for some reason, a lot of historic wood, and I do a lot a lot of pens for people that give me wood that means something to them. Last Christmas, I did a whole bunch of pens for some coworkers they gave me wood from trees that came from the family home and that sort of thing. Something that was a touchstone for them. One of my favorite things to do is I'll bring this a little closer. This
if you don't mind.
Yeah. Now I can't see the laptop, so you'll have to tell me if this is in frame or not. I don't know if you can see this or not. This is a it's a fountain pen that I did. It's from the Canadian schooner Blue Nose. It's the Blue Nose 2 actually. It's a famous Canadian ship. It's actually on the Canadian dime. I was lucky enough to be able to get some of this wood. You can't get it anymore. But anything with sort of a historical significance, I find to be interesting. I'm more interested in the backstory. To equate it for Americans, it'd be like getting something from Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The Eagle is the Coast Guard trading vessel, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but she's made of steel, so. But you're probably thinking Constitution.
Okay, Constitution, or even any wood trim on it. I've got a bunch of wood from the largest Canadian Coast Guard icebreaker, the Louis Saint Laurent. I did pens for a friend of mine who's retired Coast Guard, and I did it out of teak. It was a handrail from the Louis Saint Laurent, and I did 2 for him, and he gave one to a friend of his who was former master of the Louis. Now, on the surface, it's a nice looking pen, but to the former skipper of that boat, to him that was significant because everybody who was ever under his command at some point would have run their hand along that handrail, the teak. So yeah. I find the backstory is what I really find interesting. And when people give me a piece of wood, be it from their grandmother's place or their grandparents or the parents or a special friend, and ask me to do a pen for them, to them, to me it's an honor, and that's what I really enjoy. I enjoy doing that and doing something with a backstory.
Yeah, and I noticed, if I recall, and yes, I'll tell everybody I'm terrible at keeping up with friends' videos. I just, it is what it is. But if I recall, one of those pens you're talking about or showed, you tell the backstory on the video where you're showing it or where you're turning it, right?
Yeah, I did that for the Blue Nose. I did that for my friend Janice, who's a coworker. It was a lilac tree that her nan brought from England, brought to Newfoundland when she first came over as a girl, and it grew at the family home. The home has since passed out of the family, but she was home there last year and went to the new owners, and was able to get some of the wood from the lilac tree. And she got it to me, and then I turned a bunch of pens for her children. So it was a touchstone for Janice's kids to their great-grandmother, and for Janice to her grandmother. And it's just stuff like that. I just feel really good when I'm doing it. It's to me, it's I've always got a smile on my face when I'm doing it. It's kind of like watching a Steve Carmichael video. If you're not smiling watching a Steve Carmichael video, no matter what he's doing, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Because he's always happy, and that's exactly how I am when I'm doing something like that.
And that's why everybody likes you. I just don't have a single bad thing to say about you, and I was looking for something. I'm just kidding. I assume there's nobody in the chat that has a question because they're probably still debating about Trump.
No question.
Okay.
I have one though.
Thank you, Paul. Anyway, I come back to you, Donna. Yes.
Yeah. Mark, how long have you been doing this, and what got you started in it?
We already went there, woman. Go ahead. Mark.
I think the sound was messed up on that part.
My wife asked me to build a flower bed out of some railway mini ties, and when we first bought the house about 15 years ago, and I had never done anything woodworking related. My dad was not a woodworker. There was nobody around me that was a woodworker. It wasn't offered to me in high school. It was just something that when we bought the house, all of a sudden it was like, okay, I want you to make this. And so I went to Walmart and I bought a jigsaw, and then I bought a circular saw, and it was just kind of like the way I approach things is no matter what my wife asked me to build, if it was a garbage corral or if it was planters or anything, I always approach everything the same way. How hard could this possibly be? And then immediately find out how difficult some things are. But then
it's harder than I thought it would be.
Harder than I thought it was. And then 10 years ago, then I discovered YouTube. So then it was like, oh, okay, so this is how you actually do things. So I most of my woodworking education has come from shows like this and from YouTube. My wife actually, God bless her, every time she goes to a yard sale, she usually ends up coming home with. Well, actually, if you look up there on the wall, there are all those old tools, and that's what Gail has got for me. It's not something I would ever buy for myself, but she finds them cheap and brings them home to me. She brings home like banana boxes full of old woodworking magazines. And then in the wintertime, what she usually likes to do is, we'll sit down here by the fire, and she'll go through the woodworking magazines, and she'll have a bunch of Post-it notes, and she'll just say, yep, okay, I need you to make that, and a few pages later, make that. And she hands me a magazine with like every project in it she wants made. So, she gave me a stack there one day, it's probably about that tall, and all I could see was Post-it notes out the side of it. I said, well, I'm going to need to retire to do this. So,
so you're still working on that list, right?
Yeah, I'm about a decade behind.
And I'm sorry for calling you out, Donna. In her defense, your audio was messed up back then, but has magically gotten cleaner. So sorry, Donna, for calling you. Well, I'm not sorry for calling you a woman. I'm just sorry the way I said it. But anyway,
and Mark, is that an Exxon Mobil?
Yes. I
had the same question. That got my attention.
This actually was that got 5th place in Laney Shaughnessy's Whirligig Wars. That was something that my wife had come up with. My wife is an artist, and she's she comes up with the concepts for everything, and that's exactly what that was. That was for the Whirligig Wars there a few years back. And I have 2 or 3 other Whirligigs here that my cats have successfully managed to knock down. Here in Nova Scotia, we have the International Whirligig Festival is held every September. And a couple of years ago, we went and did our first one there, and just to kind of get our feet wet. And that was right after we had gotten 5th place with the Exxon Mobil Whirligig. The little station attendant, he just doffing his cap, but Gail came up. She painted everything. She designed it. I cut out the Pegasus, the winged horse on the scroll saw, and the service station attendant. And Gail actually made the rest of that stuff there. So we do a lot of these things together. But when we went to the International Whirligig Festival there 2 years ago, we walked off with the top 4 prizes out of all of them. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to attend this year because I'm working that weekend. But that was just something that Gail comes up with these elaborate ideas for things, and then I have to figure out how to make them mechanically work. So it's, and she's a lot more patient than I am, which is saying a lot. So it's, Gailey comes up with all these things like you see Marilyn Monroe there. I cut it out on I cut it out on scroll saw. And then can
you point at it, Mark? It's kind of hard to see since everything's far back. No offense.
Okay, I don't know if you can see this here.
No, that's Jessica Rabbit.
I'm sorry, Jessica. I'm sorry, that's Jessica. Where's Marilyn?
She's to the left of where that was sitting.
Yeah, there's Marilyn. Yeah, so I cut these things out, and Gail embellishes them and paints them and does whatever. It's got a kind of a metallic-y thing on it. So it's just something that we like to do together, and which is always nice when I have her down here in the shop, spending time with me down here. So we enjoy it.
I think it's great that that you and your wife do it together, because I think a lot of us. I mean, some people want a break from their spouse, but I mean, personally, I would love it if my wife was in here doing things with me. No.
You know, it's funny you should say that, because one of the things that some of the guys at work kind of give me the gears over is no matter whenever I'm talking to Gail, if I'm on my work phone or on my cell phone, whenever I finish the call, I always say, I love you. And the guys kind of give me the gears over every once in a while. And I said, you know what? I said, here's the difference between you and me, is that I have no doubt that you don't love your wife, but the difference is I actually like my wife. I would rather spend time with her than anyone else. And you know, we're very, very private people. We don't have any family here in Nova Scotia. All of our family is back home in Newfoundland, except for Gail's brother back in Ontario. But yeah, we like spending time together, so that works out well.
Mark, got a question for you.
Yeah.
Besides all these online groups that you belong to, do you have any local woodworking clubs that you belong to up there?
No, actually, I don't. The only one, there is a Turner's Guild here, the Scotian Turner's Guild in Halifax. And unfortunately, I work 4 on 4 off, mostly shift work, that mostly entails overnights. So I actually looked at their meeting calendar for their entire season, and I could attend like 2 meetings. So unfortunately, I don't have any local contact. I've got a couple of friends that live reasonably close that I go hang out with every once in a while in their shop. They're both Turners, and so you know, I kind of bounce ideas and stuff off of each other. But unfortunately, I don't. My schedule doesn't really allow me to participate fully in any clubs or anything.
Good question, Carl. For those that don't know me, I have a different wife every week. Anyway, little tasteless humor there. Are you able to temporarily remove your banner thing and show us anything up close?
Well, let me see. This is probably, if I just turn my laptop so I can see what it is you're seeing, and I'll just bring it closer to the camera, that's probably going to work a little bit better.
How about that chair? Bring it closer to the camera. Hey, Mark, how many pennies was that in your table?
Oh, that was Gail's table, and that was, oh my goodness, there was 30 pounds of pennies that were in it. There was several thousand. I can't remember what the total was.
Can we go upstairs and count?
Yeah, give me a minute. I'll be right back. I'll go count.
Mark, would you mind temporarily taking down your lower third thing where the name panel? What the hell is it called? Banner.
The lower third.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Hangout toolbox. All right, let me try and turn that off.
And I forgot to present you, so I'm a terrible host.
Did it go off? Click.
Not yet, but it's not the end of the world. As long as you hold everything above it, we're good. Now we can easily see the Maryland you were showing earlier.
Yeah, so this was Gail's idea, and you can kind of see she's used plastic mesh with just painted black underneath there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, to simulate the grate, and then that's her painting that she does. Yeah, it's just some cool little projects that she just kind of like to have around the house. This was just a wind spinner. Just me. Actually, I'm thinking of actually doing a video for it. It's nothing too. It's just a lot of repetitive cuts. Is all it is, really.
Yeah.
But it does look cool in the when it's blowing in the breeze.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see what else we got here. This was Steve Ramsey inspired. This was my first attempt at a bandsaw box, and that's Birch and Paducah. That was 6 years ago, 2011. So it's looks like a little kind of a squished loaf of bread, I guess. Best way to describe that. And there's another one, just a little bit more stylized, I guess. I just decided to try and make something a little bit bigger. This was unintentional. I was hoping to bring it down to the side, but it didn't quite work. So I decided to make it a design element, as we like to say.
The modern look.
Yeah, just kind of something a little different.
Not a flaw, it's a feature.
Yeah, exactly. Now this, I don't have the top. Gail had actually painted this, and you just see the other one just over to the side there. This is actually a butterfly box. I am working on a video for this. There's a lid that goes on top, and it's got a stake that goes into the ground. But this is a inside of it. I don't know if you can see. It's got there's bark on the inside, and the slits are actually a specific dimension for butterflies. So what we did was we planted a butterfly mix in the garden, and to attract the butterflies, and this is where they nest. So we sold a bunch of those there a few years ago. This has been out in the weather for a long time there, so that actually needs to be stripped down again and redone. I'm actually this doesn't look like a lot, but I'm actually quite proud of this. For anybody who has problems with squirrels, I'm sorry. I don't. I actually like them. We live in the woods. We've got a lot of critters around. This is a squirrel nesting box, and it's just a little box, nothing grand, with a little entrance there. You can kind of see up under there where they go up. I did about 22 or 23, a couple of dozen, I guess, for an organization here in Nova Scotia. It's called Hope for Wildlife. Actually, it was my last video, was making these squirrel nesting boxes, baby squirrel nesting boxes. The people down at Hope for Wildlife, Hope Swinimer, runs it. It's a wildlife sanctuary and rehabilitation center. They had approached me and just put a call out and said, "Hey, we've got this scrap wood. Is there anybody that could make some of these nesting boxes for their baby squirrels?" And so anyway, that's what I did.
You know, I've never seen a baby squirrel, come to think of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna interrupt real quick because Donna Presley had a question, and then I believe Jamie Page has a question. Donna?
Yes. Shannon wants to know which pen was from the oldest source.
I actually, I don't think I have it down here with me. I've got some 5,000-year-old bog oak that I turned, and that was I got that from oh God, I think it came from Russia, actually. Memory serves. They were harvesting them in the Ukraine, so they were actually going to. It was wood that was taken out of bogs, and I guess they do the same thing like in the Great Lakes. They salvage a lot of timber from the Great Lakes, so it's incredibly well preserved. So that'd be the oldest, about 5,000 years.
Wow.
Very, very difficult to turn, I gotta say. And
I imagine it's hard as a rock, almost petrified.
Yeah, it is. And one of the things here, I'm trying to get this in focus.
Little bit higher.
Yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
Okay, so you see along here where this is laminated from the ship, and right along that line there where the mahogany and the Angelique meet. In a lot of the blanks there's actually a white substance there. And the first time I turned this, I had no idea why my chisels were dulling so quickly. And it took me hours and hours, literally, to make a pen. It was almost an entire day affair. And
Wow.
what it was that salt had impregnated into the laminations. So it was the salt that was actually dulling my chisels. And this was actually really difficult to do. So what I ended up doing was turning on my grinder and not turning it off. I would just let it go. I'd make 2 or 3 passes on the lathe, and then I'd just have to touch it up again. So once I figured that out, it was much easier to do.
Did you say Angelique or something like that? I've never heard of that as a wood.
Angelique wood.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a funky kind of wood.
Alrighty, speaking of funky, Jamie Page has a question for you. Sorry, Jamie.
Wow.
Sorry, I dished it out, but I can't take it.
I've actually, I've got a question. You've been to quite a few maker events, Mark. The question I want to know is, when was the last time you got off an elevator and got laughed at?
I know this story.
It wasn't just off the elevator. It was like all the way into the dining room.
Uh-huh.
I was so hoping this was not.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Okay, okay, let me ask y'all a question. Have you ever had a dream, and in the dream you're in public, and you realize as you're in public, you're either in your underwear or you're just naked?
Totally naked.
Whoa, whoa, that was a dream?
No. Has anybody ever had that dream?
I have. It's a nightmare for everybody else, but it's a dream for me because everybody liked me in the dream. Yeah,
see, the problem I have is when I went to WIA in Kansas City a couple of years ago. I came down from the 23rd floor with a lovely woman. She was probably in her 70s. Anyway, we're having a lovely chat in the elevator. I came down, bid her good morning, walked across the lobby to the coffee bar to get my morning Joe. Passed a group of about a dozen women sitting on an L-shaped sectional in the lobby, and I just nodded to them like good morning. And as I went and I got the coffee, and then I saw my buddy walking across the other side of the hotel lobby. So I called out to him, Corey, and just loud enough for other people to kind of turn their heads and look at me. And I didn't really pick up on it at the time. So we walk over to the business alcove, and we're sat down. We were actually flying out that day, and we were printing out our business or our boarding passes. And at one point, I just happened to look down, and I looked up at Corey, and I said, "I'm not wearing pants." And he started to look at me. He just looked at me like, "You're not wearing." And then he looked down, and he just about keeled over on like it was a bar stool type chair he was on. He almost keeled over. Now, at this point, I am about as far away from the elevator bank as you can possibly be. I mean, there's no sense hiding it. So I just strutted my little butt right back across the lobby again, past the group of 12 women that were having a morning meeting of some sort.
You didn't mention the not wearing pants. You didn't wear that. You didn't say that loud, did you?
I just looked right at them with a big smile on my face, and it was just like tipped my head. I got onto the elevator. I rode back up to the 23rd floor. As I go into our hotel room, Gail was in there. She just saw me as I walked in, just in my boxers, and she just took one look and just keeled over laughing. And I was just like, "Shut up." I went over, grabbed a pair of shorts, put them on, went back down in the elevator. As I get off the elevator, one of the women from that group of 12 just happened to be looking towards the elevator, and she obviously said something to the rest of the ladies that were present, because all of a sudden I saw 11 more heads all just kind of turn and look at me, and I just strutted my butt out the front door, and I was like, "Hey, it's a Canadian thing."
You thought everybody was looking at you because you were all sexy, but thank God you weren't wearing a Speedo.
Well, I was glad I wasn't wearing. Yeah, I was glad I wasn't wearing the Kyle Toth inspired leopard skin thong. Let's put it that way.
Oh, just sweet Jesus. Thank you for that story. Oh, I was turning purple. I'm not sure I could breathe. Kenny Hopkins had a question for you, sir.
Hey, Mark. At the beginning of the intro, you were talking about the feeling that you get while listening to the stories, while you're turning these pens and things like that. To go along with that, do you do any volunteer work? Do you do any kind of group efforts to bring youngsters into the woodworking, things like that?
I volunteer, like I said, with the Squirrel Nesting Boxes. I did that for the Hope for Wildlife as a volunteer. I don't have any young children around me right now, or that would be age appropriate. Now I do have two grandsons, but they're both like really, really young. One is 19 months and the other is like 4 months old. So it'll be a little while before I bring him in. But I have had a couple of my coworkers that approached me that wanted to make something for their husband, and so I'm like, you're more than welcome to come over if I can help you. Like, they want to do it, and I was like, hey, if you want to do it, I'm here. The shop is here. I'm more than welcome to come over. So anybody that's ever inquired, I've been I've been most receptive because I tend to find, and I think this is true for a lot of people, that woodworking can be kind of a solitary, lonely existence. You're down in your shop by yourself for the most part. And then, the advent of Google Hangouts and stuff came along, and it kind of changed it, because if you had a question or a problem, if you didn't actually know another woodworker locally, the old days, you write into Wood Magazine and hopefully they pick your letter, and 3 months later it might get published, and 6 months after that you might get an answer. Well, with the advent of the Hangouts, I had Matt Brander and Jason McGinn from New Brunswick. They were over visiting me. They're only a couple of hours away. So they came over to visit, and we Russ Clarity was on from Florida. We were just doing a hangout, and Peter Freitag from Germany. And we were having a problem with my bandsaw, and it was kind of interesting that Russ managed to track down, it's an old bandsaw. He tracked down these original schematics for it. Peter was his ex-technical services in the German Luftwaffe. And he sent it over to him, and he was able to pinpoint what the issue was, and we were able to fix it. And I thought to myself, how cool is this now? A guy from Newfoundland is getting his bandsaw fixed with 2 guys from New Brunswick with help from a guy in Florida and another guy in Germany in Nova Scotia, and we got it fixed in about 45 minutes. Like that never happened before, and that's kind of the cool thing about not really having anybody locally that I can hang out with. But online, if you post any kind of a question online, you're going to have an answer pretty damn quick.
Okay. Real quickly, thank you for that question, by the way, Kenny. I know this is a little bit off topic, Mark, but sort of on topic. At least 3 panel members have asked if you're wearing pants now, so you might have to prove it.
Do you really want me to widen the shot?
Yes, sir.
Ask yourself that, really.
If nothing else, entertainment value.
I am.
But 3, okay, we'll just take his word for it.
That I am. I'm not wearing underwear, but I am wearing pants.
Thank you for that. I'm not wearing either. So, but that's my thing.
That answers my next question, which was boxers or briefs.
Commando.
Alrighty then. So that's when the show went to hell. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so TJ's Woodworking says, awesome projects, Mark. I love it, and my wife loves it too. Good job.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, TJ, and thank you, Donna. The thing that made me laugh hardest at your story is, number one, I wasn't there. I wish I had been, but you can get away with boxers because a lot of shorts these days look like boxers. But what made me laugh the hardest is I kept visualizing you, the way you so casually said it. You said you looked down and I'm not wearing pants. It's like I'm an idiot.
Yep. And that was pretty much Gail's reaction when she saw me.
Oh my God! I'm surprised anybody ever let you live that down. And of course, your friendly friends on here on the panel had to bring it up for you. But
thank you, baby.
You can always depend on Jeremy.
I still remember a hangout with him, Izzy, and Chris Q in Boston.
I've been on hangouts with. It's been a long time, Mark. We got to start doing that again, hangouts, if you're able to. But his wife is just as sweet, if not slightly sweeter than he is. And Gail is a sweetheart. And but Mark has been known to lift his shirt during a hangout. Just warning y'all if y'all ever want to do a hangout with him. Hi, I see myself. Anyway, thanks for watching, Charles. Somebody has to. Just kidding. We have 25 viewers. Was there anything that we babbled too much to keep you from showing?
That's just for you, Charles.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, I love this show. I love this show.
Mark, I love you.
Now, how many other people have done
the ratings have changed.
how many other people have done this on the show? I'm so proud.
I have. I wore a mankini on Carl's show.
Did you show it, though?
Yeah.
Alrighty then. That's kind of speechless here. Thank you for that, Mark. I'm sure that at least 3 people in that thing just gave us a thumbs up for that. At least 3.
It's got to counteract all the pre-show thumbs down.
Oh yeah, because they're there. Trust me. I think I hold the record for it, and I'm proud of my record, whatever record I can get.
Mark is an inspiration.
Yes, Mark.
Hey, I could tell you one thing. Other than Lutz, Mark is the next guy that runs up to people and gives them a big hug when he meets them.
That's exactly what me and him did.
Holy crap!
I walked in. He was wearing that shirt, and I believe it's his shop shirt. But he's the first person I saw when I walked in that venue. And I don't even know how many years it's been now. I think it's been since around 2014. We've been doing hangouts, and it's just there. Yeah. And I know we all have friends, but there is, other than Paul and Kenny and Al, I've met everybody on this panel, and there is no words. And Carl, I got to meet Carl. Never mind. Sorry, Carl. I remember you're one of the second people I met. But anyway, there is nothing, no words to describe getting to meet people you are close friends with or even acquaintances with in person.
It's interesting you say that. So I remember the first gathering was WIA in 2015 in Kansas City, and we were all there, and it was all very surreal. And we were trying to figure out, like, it almost felt kind of like a high school reunion in the sense that we had already been friends for several years in some cases, and we just finally got together. And I can't remember if it was Nick Ferry or if it was April, or I can't remember who it was. It might have been Braxton, actually. Braxton Workman. Hi, Braxton. I got your beer cozy. Your beer cozy's right here, Braxton. Timber Woodworking, timber manufacturing. Check them out. He said the big difference in like having everybody together is that it's so different from a hangout, because in a hangout you can mute somebody.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and you can't just discreetly walk away, although some people will. But they're really, I know I speak for everybody here on the panel that's been to a social event. That last year was my first one, or this year, whatever you want to call it. But there truly are no words for it. I mean, you can't put a value on getting to meet people. And I've told the story of how Donna was there for me when I got mental, but I won't go into that story. But I got to meet Miter Mike. I got to meet Carl Taylor. He was one of the first people I saw, and we sat there and talked for a while. And then I hugged on Steve Good. Got to meet Chris Ahern. We traded hats, and then he bought me one, and called us Scally, I believe. And Jamie Page. That was a hoot. I mean, getting to meet somebody, and I believe Izzy was responsible for that. So thank you, Izzy. But Jamie, me and him give each other crap, but he's another sweet guy, and we just that they're. The odds of getting to meet somebody that lives in the UK. I mean, I know I'm sort of switching topics here, but it's just great. And Jamie, I'm thrilled to death that I got to meet you and everybody else I got to meet. And someday I'll get to meet Paul and Al and Kenny.
If they want to meet you.
Yeah, I want to meet him. Charles, you're in Dallas?
I am about an hour and a half from Dallas. I'm closer to Waco. I'm in Gatesville, Texas.
Okay. Well, I'm like 250 miles west of you, but I was going to say if I were to drive down there, we could meet halfway or something. But yeah.
Miter Mike's telling me I walked into that. I tend to walk into a lot of things. Yeah. Nobody wants to visit me here because my shop smells like an ashtray. I don't know why. I have no clue. But it's especially with the history me and Mark have, as long as we've been talking. And but yeah, so I know I'm going on and on about it, but if you ever get a chance to go to one of these woodworking shows, whether you're a viewer or a subscriber or own your own channel, whether you have 5 subscribers or 5 million, it's awesome to get to meet people you've been socializing with, whether it's in hangouts like this or just chat.
You just mentioned about Mark and Lutz being exactly the same. Now, Mark and Lutz were together in another aspect not so long ago when Lutz was not very well, unfortunately. Can Mark explain to everyone what he actually did?
Well, when he says Lutz, his name is...
When Lutz was not very well.
When he says Lutz, he's referring to William Lutz. Bill Lutz.
Yeah, Bill Lutz. Over at Reclaim Audio.
I wish I could find the picture. You don't happen to have it, do you, JP?
I could see if I can quickly find it.
Yeah, see if you can quickly find it. I'm a flight dispatcher. I do route planning, fuel calculations, weather analysis. Basically, I find the best route for our aircraft to fly. The difference between what I do and what ATC does, ATC keeps airplanes from literally hitting each other. They separate all airplanes. My job is to find the best route for my fleet. And we fly from St. John's, Newfoundland to Victoria, BC, to Yellowknife, down to Houston, down to San Diego, to Phoenix. We're all over the place, the continent wide or North American wide. So I have my radar display that I can tag any aircraft I want on it. What I tend to do is I'm responsible on any given shift for about 40 to 50 flights that I keep track of over a 12-hour shift. So what I actually did was there's a little data block that goes with each airplane, and it's got its altitude, its speed, its route, its ETA, its heading, and all kinds of information. And there's also a line in there for remarks. So I had I don't know. I think when I took the screenshot, I probably only had 12 or 13 flights going. But at the time, every single one of them carried that little hashtag that said "Go Lutz," which was the hashtag that we were using that day when Bill was gone in for a surgery. So that was kind of cool. I think he liked it because Bill works for the Hayward Airport, Hayward Executive Airport. So he kind of got it. So being an aviation guy, I thought it was kind of cool to do for him. So yeah, there is a picture floating in one of the Facebook groups.
Found it.
You found it. Let me put you on the camera there.
Right, let me screen share. Am I screen sharing?
Not yet.
Nope.
Oh no, I've got to click that one. Right, there we go.
Go Lutz right up there in the center, upper center. Oh, they're all go Lutz. Okay.
Yeah, they're all go Lutz.
Did any of the pilots ask you what the hell that meant?
No, they had no idea. This was just me being me and thinking that this is something for Bill that he would appreciate. So yeah,
that's just one example. That's just one example of Mark's sweetness.
Isn't it a little bit disconcerting that none of the pilots asked, "What the hell does that mean?"
No, because this is my display, so they don't see it.
Oh,
I thought the pilots would see it. That's
no.
Yeah, I do too.
This was for my amusement and for Lutz's amusement.
No, I get it now. Okay.
Hello, Carl. What is a go Lutz?
I know a word that the pilots are looking at and nobody asked what that meant.
Did he misspell glutes?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. Bill's good people.
Yes,
he is. Bill is awesome.
He's somebody I don't get to talk to very often, but I should. There's a lot of people like that. Does anybody on the panel have any more questions, or anybody in the chat? Because we only have 5 more minutes, and I don't want to dry up on topics.
Hey, Mark, what is your most style pen that you do?
I'd have to say probably the Sierra pen. It's, I don't know, I can make 2 at a time, so it's certainly my most lucrative pen for sales, because it's a single barrel pen. So if you were doing a slim line, or any type of pen that requires 2 barrels, well, you're only making 1 at a time, but I can do 2 at a time with the Sierra, and that's I actually sold enough. The first year I got into it was only a couple of years ago that I got into it. I sold enough leading up to Christmas that I went out and bought a brand new lathe in cash in the Boxing Day sale after Christmas. So it's certainly the most lucrative pen to make.
And Boxing Day is a Canadian thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, December 26th. Yeah, that's actually a UK thing.
Oh, sorry.
Mark, your videos. What style of video do you like to make? I know, like Frank Hayworth has a style, and then there's a style of tutorial, and there's a style of mainly speaking and teaching. What's your style of video?
I don't know if I actually have a style per se, Carl. I actually, in my mind, I storyboard the video, and I've been working on one now for a while that it just hasn't come together, but it's basically, it's how to make a pop can solar heater for like a mini greenhouse. It's just a passive thing just made with pop cans and a little box and a piece of Lexan. But I've actually got a story that goes with it. Basically, like you see a hand pops up out of nowhere, just will, steal somebody's soda off of the desk or something. So I try to make them a little bit humorous. I try to keep it to fairly basic instructions. Like I'm no fine woodworker. I like doing craft stuff or whatever Gail likes to make. I certainly admire Frank Howard's work. I was lucky enough to meet him there in Atlanta last year, and I'm a huge admirer of his. But I like to have a little bit of humor and just just have fun with it, I guess.
Yeah, I think I try to add humor to mine. I mean, whether or not it's received well is up to the viewer, but yeah, I think we all try to add our little niche, and I think Carl lately here has done tutorial videos. I believe they're Dremel related. I can't remember because I've slept since then. He started a series.
Yeah, they're Dremel related.
Already.
Hey, Mark, where do you sell most of your stuff at?
Actually, I sell most of my stuff at work. And on Facebook. People have just kind of contacted me, especially for the pins. That's what I'm mostly known for. And I do these benches as well. I've made a lot of these. This is one that's in desperate need of repair. It's been outside for about 10 years. It's just got marine paint on it, but it actually starting to show its age now. I sell those to people that know that I make them. I actually probably give away more of those than I actually sell. But
okay, I don't mean to interrupt you. Everybody on the panel, I guess something's happened in the chat. Robin Jacobson, one of my wives, is in the chat, and everybody on the panel wrote, Charles, say hi to Robin. So apparently, hello, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Hello, Robin.
My secret girlfriend that nobody knows about.
And I've just seen that Holly Denny's out there, so hello, Holly.
Oh, hey, Holly Denny. We haven't got to talk very much, but it's probably because I'm a pervert. But Robin knows that as well. But the thing with me and Robin is I'll say something perverted and then I'll say sorry. So now we just have a going thing where we say sorry after everything. Yes, I said hi, Chris. Thank you. What was said in the chat that made everybody on the panel say, Charlie, say hi to Robin?
Robin,
she just wants you to say hello to her.
Yeah.
No, hello, Robin Jacobson, the wife of Carl Jacobson, who probably doesn't like me anymore because I'm sweeting on his woman.
I think you just got to say cacao.
Cacao!
Cacao, it's a safe word, baby.
Yeah.
C-A-C-A-O. I have no idea what it means, but it was on a commercial, I think, and that's what got it started.
TV show called Portlandia.
Right. And Jamie Page is a self-proclaimed fanboy of Carl Jacobson, so that's.
No, I'm a self-proclaimed fan of Robin.
No.
Cole just happens to be there.
No, Carl is yours, Robin is mine. Don't do this on the air, okay? Because anyway, I'm just kidding. We love you, Robin, very, very, very much. Okay.
May I just add that Robin painted Optimus Prime from the Transformers movie?
Oh, exactly.
And she's got an Instagram page called Miss Robin Jacobson.
Miss MRS.
Mrs. Robin
I know.
Jacobson.
I mean, maybe I was just dreaming. What is it? MRS Robin Jacobson?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that it wasn't spelled out. Is why I was asking. Yes, she did. She painted the Optimus Prime for Transformers. We are out of time. I'm sorry for those 3 people that still want to watch, but we gotta say things that can't be said on air as if we haven't gone there already. But I'd like to thank Al Forte, Chris Ahern, Donna Presley, Jamie Page, Carl Taylor, Kenny Hopkins. See you next week. Kenny Hopkins will be our featured guest next week. Mark Christopher, thank you very much for being on this week. I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry it's been so long since we talked. We got to fix that. Miter Mike and Paul Corliss. And by God, none of us are wearing pants. Scroll on.